Hey, what's going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon. It is the Earthmaster back here on this Monday. Can't say finally Monday, right? Well, maybe for some people. Yeah, I was just waiting here for 5 minutes for that train to go by, and I thought it was done. Well, it comes back around and starts blaring its horn again as I'm doing an update. But okay, whatever. It's Monday, so we'll blame it on the Monday deal. March 6, 2023. It's about 12:51 p.m. Here in the West Coast in California. The latest earthquake shows a 2.7 earthquake into the region of Turkey. Still seeing some deeper activity out here along portions of the Java Trench, and fairly quiet across the Pacific Plate down here. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. I do want to cover right off the bat first the potential of seeing a significant flooding event here along the West Coast in California. We're talking about a return of some warmer air, warmer storms hitting the West Coast dead on. As you know, this has been quite a winter so far for low elevation snow out here in California, Southern California as well. But for the most part, we got feet upon feet, even at some lower elevations where it normally isn't. So we're looking at a similar pattern to what we've seen in the 2016-2017 winter, where we had a whole bunch of significant snowfall and then a series of warm atmospheric rivers. And that's what these are. These are basically atmospheric rivers channeling in a whole bunch of moisture into the West Coast on top of the snow. Now, it'd be a little bit different story if these were some colder events coming down, similar to what we're seeing right now. We almost had snow here again, where I live in Northern California here at just a couple hundred feet elevation. I think Redding's seen a little bit, and just to the west of me as well, up around the foothills on the Coast Range. Cold storms. But this next series of storms is going to bring with it some warmer air coming up. Notice that moisture flow funneling into Northern California from the west over here. This is kind of a warmer system. It's bringing it, I'd say from about the Hawaii area and much further back. It stretches well across the western Pacific over here, bringing with it moisture and some warmer air. Southern California is going to get in on this as well. Watch this map right down here on the 12th or 11th or 12th of this month. And it just kind of sits there and funnels various systems in our direction before it looks like high pressure may be building up around the 22nd. So that's one weather model that we're looking at. Another one here is the GFS model here that's going to show what type of precipitation is coming in. And of course, we got the snow here today, and it's been that way for the past month or so. We've had quite a bit of snow, lingering showers and rain and snow in the mountains here with this low pressure system spinning off the coast. That's going to be for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then right about that time, come the end of the week, Thursday into Friday, we're seeing a warmer series of storm systems come up here from the southwest, like I showed you just on that weather model with the upper level jet stream, bringing that into Northern California and Southern California as well. Notice as we bring in that warmer air, a lot of that moisture turns to just rainfall. There's not a whole lot of blue here on the map. At the extreme higher elevations, yes, there'll be snow still. I'm thinking probably above 7,000 feet or higher. So anything below that still has quite a bit of snow on the ground, right? But you're going to get this warmer moisture onto that snow and create some major runoff. And that's looking like that's going to be the case here with these next couple storms. There was the first good one. That's going to be on, comes knocking on the door, it looks like around the Thursday time frame, March 9th to the 10th. And that's going to last probably for a day or two with some sufficient rainfall for Northern California and flooding concerns again. This is starting to look a little similar to January. Of course, we had a lot of flooding activity here in January, but we didn't have the extensive snow that we have on the ground now. So this could be a little bit more of a serious event. A little break during the 12th time frame, it looks like, before another warm system coming in. Look at that moisture flow funneling up from the southwest, bringing with it a very rich environment for rainfall. No blue up here on the map, and that's a little concerning, folks. You know, our reservoirs they're getting there. Some are roughly about 75% full, so we do have a little bit of room here to you know, fill those up. I don't think we're going to have any shortage of water in the reservoirs this summer, but this could be some concern. We'll definitely keep an eye on it as it gets closer. It's still a little ways out there, but the weather models are fairly in good agreement here. Look at that, back-to-back warm storms coming in. All this heavy rain on top of a bunch of snow. It's going to spell some trouble. And it looks like that continues. How many times is that train going to go back and forth? Goodness, it's driving me crazy. I don't know if you guys could hear it or not, unless it's just all in my head. But it looks like around the, okay, so after that storm system on the 17th and 18th, a little break. Now this is still way out there. There's a little uncertainty as to how strong this specific storm system will be. But we got, I'd say, a good week or so of some heavy-duty rain coming in. These are not low precipitation events. Let me show you guys the accumulated precipitation map here. The GFS model from Tropical Tidbits. This is today. Of course, we've got, what did I pick up overnight? 13.13, so just over tenth of an inch of rain here where I'm at. And again, it almost turned to snow this morning. It was 36 degrees. I think I've seen a little bit of snowflakes out there. Okay, so let's go here as we look at the accumulated total precipitation amount over the next week or so. And this is going to go through that time period where those warm systems are coming in. Looks like it peaks out right about the maximum around the 19th. After that, it's kind of iffy. So we'll go with that and look at these measurable precipitation amounts. Now, this is accumulated. That means total rainfall amounts. Look at the Sierra Nevadas up here. We're talking over a foot of rain. And most of that is going to be rain up there on top of the feet of snow. It could be a serious event if you really think about it. I don't think we've seen anything like this since about the 2017 era with the Oroville Dam having some issues. I don't know if you guys remember that. The spillway, the auxiliary spillway was used because the main dam was the main spillway was having some issues. It actually crumbled and eroded away to the bedrock. It was pretty crazy. But I don't know if we had this much snow prior to all those warm systems. So this could be comparable, if not potentially more hazardous than what we had seen during that time frame. Of course, the Oroville Dam spillway is fixed, supposedly. I mean, it's been handling okay, but we haven't really seen anything like this, and it's been fairly empty up there. So this will be something to keep an eye on. So here in the Sacramento Valley, we got a little rain shadow here, but that's taking into account for the mountains here to the west. But back in January, it showed the same thing, but this never held through. When we have that southwest moisture flow, that rain shadow tends to disappear, and we get the accumulated heavy amounts here in the Sacramento Valley. And that is showing somewhere around 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. And our ground is already soaked. It's remained soaked since January. We've only had a couple days or so where it's dried out the top layer of the soil, but still underneath everything is soaked. So another 6, goodness. It's got to be a Monday honk your horn type of day, right? Maybe I'll go around town just honking my horn. People probably think I'm crazy if I do that, but hey, it'd be fun. All right, so yeah, 6 to maybe 8 inches, maybe maybe a little bit less as we head down towards the San Joaquin Valley. And this pattern looks as though it's shifted a little bit north directly into my area, of course, because I love this stuff. It was a little bit more aimed down here in Southern California. If you remember, I don't know if it was last night or the night before, we showed a little bit more substantial rainfall event here for Southern Cal, but that track has shifted northward now right into Northern California and lining us up with some sufficient rainfall amount. So I'm guessing we're going to see anywhere, if we were to just count in these weak amounts, that's like the lowest amount, anywhere between 4 and then the upward higher amount potentially at the northern end of the Sacramento Valley, maybe around Chico as well, 8 inches or so. There we go. I knew if I took a break just for a second, it'd blare. All right, I think I'll go play a lottery ticket. That's close. It almost sounds like it's right outside my house. Okay, so that is going to be the rainfall. Now, the extreme higher elevations, we're talking about probably above 7,000 feet. I don't know why I went there. We'll probably see some heavy-duty snowfall way up there. What am I doing here? The train. It's the train. It's messing me up. You ever get distracted by trains? That's one of the things that just does me in. A train horn. I wanted to go to this one. Here we go. 24-hour, let's see, total snowfall right here. This is going to be today, low elevation snow, but that is going to change here after a series of storms. Notice the snowfall does not build up anymore around the 13th to 15th time frame over here. That's because it's all going to be rain. The extreme higher peaks of the Sierra will see some snowfall, but even then it looks like it could be rain on top of these higher elevations here. A little on the scary side here for the streams and rivers. We may see flooding again, folks. I mean, I would be surprised if we didn't with this type of setup. So that's the GFS Tropical Tidbits model, and been watching it here for a couple days. I'm hoping that will get us out of this drought that we're in. This was an exceptional drought over the past year or so, past couple years. Now here in Northern California and Sacramento Valley, we're just at a severe drought, but goodness, we've got quite a bit of rain. I think by the time this is done, by the time April rolls around, this will be all white, at least for a good portion of Central and Northern California. Southern California did get quite a bit of rain, and there's still rain in the forecast, just not quite as much as what the Northern California area is expected to see. Okay, now the windy map here. Well, these are wind. This is wind, obviously, right? I like this app. It's really cool. It can intermingle the different weather models, the GFS, the HRR, which is the high resolution radar imagery, ECM, WF. Now, what I want to do is bring up rainfall accumulation here, and you guys can see out into the Pacific here the significant rainfall event that's expected to occur over the next 10 days or so, stretching all the way across here. Remember I showed you in the first of this video that jet stream bringing in quite a bit of rainfall here. Now here is the next 10 days of rain. Goodness, 21 inches of rain. I don't know how accurate that's going to be, but this thing is pointing towards a significant event. Here around Chico, within that little rain shadow, it could only be maybe 3 inches or so. That's west of Willows, along the foothills here. What happens is we get these downslope winds, which tends to inhibit or prevent the convection of the storm. But again, I don't know how accurate this is going to be, this rain shadow, because the moisture that's coming in is from the southwest, and this rain shadow disappears. The only time it is relevant is when these systems are coming in straight from the west to the east. These mountains here to the west suck out the moisture. There's not much left falling once it hits the west side of the valley, and then it convects along the eastern side of the valley, and of course as you get into the higher terrain. Similar to what you see in a large scale out here in Nevada, right? That's why Nevada is so dry. It's because these mountains here, the Sierra Nevada, by the time you push those clouds and moisture through, there's nothing left. but this is like a little mini rain shadow, but I don't think this is going to play a part in these next series of storms. So we can probably fill these in with the rainfall amounts that we are expected to see down in the Sacramento Valley around here, and also in the Chico area. So looks like Chico, Oroville area could see 7 inches or so of rainfall. That's pretty significant. Sacramento, 7 inches as well. So with this setup, you can pretty much assume this area is going to see around 7 inches on average of rainfall. And the GFS model shows it filling in over the next 10 days as well. That rain shadow kind of disappears, but a little bit less in the accumulated precipitation amount, about 5 inches or so around the Chico area, and same for Sacramento. Again, we'll check into this as we get further down the road in the forecast, that is, and then we'll just keep an eye on it. Let me see what we got for earthquake activity here. Chatting a lot about the weather, but that's kind of a big deal. Let's go here to the USGS map, see what we got for earthquake activity. Things still kicking up here in Turkey, obviously, with some smaller quakes. Got 2 4-pointers today, but that's just minimal compared to all the 2s and 3s that they're still having. We are seeing a little bit of deeper earthquake activity up to the northwest with that 3.4 coming in 128 kilometers deep. That is in the position of Romania. Deeper earthquake activity is a sign of definitely large-scale movement under the region. I might want to watch some of these other areas around the Mediterranean following this deeper activity. Some movement off the coast here of Morocco as well. Let's see what else we got here for the USGS model in the vicinity. Pakistan from last night, 4.0. And still waiting for some activity here around the Java Trench. We did see some deeper movement coming in overnight. This earthquake here, the 5.1, is from yesterday at the Andaman Sea area. On the earthquake 3D map here, we got a couple deep earthquakes, smaller ones, but deep nonetheless. 3.1, 168 kilometers, Sumatra, Indonesia area at the northern end of the Java Trench, and also some deeper movement here at 4.1 near the Banda Sea, southern end of the Java Trench area. And that is showing up here on the USGS map, 4.5. So deeper activity kind of triggering the Java Trench area. Now, got to watch the upstream regions here for some larger scale movement. The Philippines looks a lot calmer today. We have been seeing a little bit of swarming activity, but it looks as though that migration wants to shoot westward here around the Java Trench. The Western Pacific Ring of Fire here, pretty quiet around the Mariana Trench and the Izu Trench. Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, nothing on the earthquake 3D globe, but we see one earthquake here. Well, that's from yesterday here. 4.6 into the Kuril Islands. Yeah, just almost 24 hours ago. Let's see, Tonga region and the Kermadec Trench. Got 2 earthquakes this morning. Deep, 4.5, 557 kilometers deep into the area of the Tonga Trench. 4.6 coming in now, it looks like, into the southern end of the Kermadec Trench. As we speak, 550 kilometers deep. That is a deep one. I don't see it showing up yet on any seismograph stations. The Black Stump Farm is located in New Zealand, somewhere right around the Taupo supervolcano. So I keep that up because they've been having a little bit of swarming there. But that might be the earthquake, maybe a signature, just barely. Notice that thickness of the blue line here at the Black Stump Farm, New Zealand area for that 4.6. And this is being reported by the EMSC model. 550 kilometers deep. Source parameters provided by the GeoNet server. So let's go see what's going on there at the GeoNet, folks. And I don't believe that's going to be felt, so we need to go to the... Well, even on this even on their map, it doesn't really show anything here. It may be too far northward for that to show up. They only have a couple deleted events and some smaller quakes here across the North Island, New Zealand. Again, this just coming in. Where's that 4.6 at? 21:02 UTC time, and right now it is almost 21:10 UTC time. So just a couple minutes ago, this earthquake coming in really deep. It may be adjusted as far as the magnitude and the depth goes. Excuse me. USGS not picking up on it yet. Fairly new earthquake, so we'll check back on that at the end of this video and get a further update on it. Let's see. South America region, all this activity here from yesterday, and I don't believe we've seen too much activity over here on the EMSC model. Nothing really showing up aside from that 3.5. And man, goodness. The main focus, I think, right now is along the Middle America Trench, with a lot of newer activity showing up here across this plate boundary. You got the Cocos plates, somewhat of a small micro plate, being shoved underneath this area, the Middle America Trench subduction zone. Let's see what we got up here. USGS reporting a couple of these earthquakes just off the coast of Nicaragua, El Salvador region, but also we're seeing some activity up north now here on the Earthquake 3D globe, as noted 4.0. So this whole area has been very active over the last couple days. No large-scale movement yet, but it could be a sign of something building up towards that large-scale magnitude soon. So just be on guard for that area. Quite a few 2s and 3s scattered out and about the Puerto Rico Trench region overnight. Let's see what we got here for the states. Not a whole lot going on throughout the eastern portion of the country. West Coast, goodness, West Coast have been, it's, you know, after looking at these things all day, all night, and doing numerous updates, California has been unusually quiet. Unusually. This is definitely well below background activity as far as the last few days of earthquake activity goes. And I'd say it's kind of been like that for, maybe about a week or so. And I'm not talking about the larger scale activity. It's been awfully quiet in large magnitudes, but in general earthquake activity, I'm talking microquakes as well, things are very quiet. There's just not a whole lot of movement. We've seen a little bit of separate swarming down here off the San Jacinto fault zone, but that's about the only area that I've noticed, a little uptick in movement. That's about it. There's no major activity along the San Andreas Fault for now. We got one on each side, though, of the plate boundary. Very small microquakes. A look at the 2.5 model and above. Well, these here, one from yesterday and one just after midnight on the San Andreas Fault here, Santa Cruz Mountain section. That one coming in about 7.6 kilometers deep. Again, just after midnight, but I don't know. I mean, it's very quiet here, folks. Unusually quiet for California. Alaska, and eventually it's got to move, right? If you really think about it, we've seen quite a bit of activity across the Pacific, and now down along the Middle America Trench, with West Coast just sitting there, not doing anything except for providing some small microquakes. It's a little odd. All right, Alaska, Cook Inlet area south. It looks like a little bit of swarming out around the Trident volcano area once again. A couple different volcanoes through this area. Nothing major. Just a little small microquake activity across the region. I look at the 2.5 map and above. 4.4 from yesterday. Today we've only seen a handful of 2s and maybe a 3-pointer here and there. The big island of Hawaii, what do we got here? Very quiet out here as well. Only 6 earthquakes out here in the big beautiful blue Pacific. Mostly around the Pahala area. All right, let's see. Let me double check that seismograph stations here. Look at that little adjustment at the same time here across the Dinsmore Station. I noticed these little, most people may not be able to see it, but there is a little adjustment here at Mount St. Helens, Dinsmore, California, which is in Northern California. And that activity following the adjustment over here, that deep earthquake supposedly that's taken place over here along the Kermadec Trench. If this earthquake is true, then which is a 4. No, that wasn't a 4.7. Which one is it? Did we have another one that just came in? This one was at 2100. This one's 2102. So if that is the case, that is some major, broad, deep adjustment here. You guys see that? We had a 5.4 just about 17 minutes or so ago. 1 p.m. my time. And then a 4.6 down here, southern end of the Kermadec Trench. Two very deep earthquakes. With somewhat of a sign over here along the eastern Pacific and West Coast area, picking up that adjustment. Mount St. Helens and Dinsmore all picking it up at the same time. So, goodness. I don't believe that's going to be the P wave. I believe that's just a little bit of localized adjustment out here along the West Coast. So we'll keep an eye on that area. Hopefully they didn't jinx it. Speaking about how quiet it was. But with these two earthquakes going on here as well, the deeper regions of Kermadec Trench and Tonga, be on guard out here in New Zealand. Not even joking. We got one earthquake coming in here from the USGS. That's a 5.8. 526 kilometers deep. That's a deep one. I'm not seeing the second one here yet. Now, it's possible, very possible, that the GeoNet servers there picked up the seismic signature from that 5.8 and thought it was more of a localized earthquake to the seismograph station down here. They've done that a lot, but I don't know yet. USGS still reporting that as a 5, or the EMSC reporting that as a 5.4. USGS 5.8. Let me see if this has been reviewed yet or not. Has been reviewed. Historical, one of the most active areas on the planet in terms of deep movement. I've always said this is where it begins. This is kind of how the cycle of plate tectonics began out here, with this deeper movement triggering the westward plate activity out here. So we could see a couple different things take place here today, folks, following this movement. Upstream activity along the Kermadec Trench, New Zealand, Tonga Trench area. But if there's not enough built up strain, then we're looking at this area out across Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, and a return of further uptick here across the Philippines. Just waiting to see if that other one's coming through here. I don't see it showing up on the USGS map, so not saying it didn't happen. It's just kind of odd that it's not being reported yet. Either way, some deep movement kicking off here, folks. All right, let's go ahead and check out space weather real quick, and then we'll get on our way. Let's see. All right, a little bit of C flare activity overnight. Still 55% chance for an M flare. C flare at 99% chance. X flare at 10. Looking at the sunspots on the sun here, obviously. Numerous sunspots out here. And a lot facing the Earth, but a lot of these are not probable of producing any significant flares, if any of them. Maybe this region right here. Looks like a little bit of intermixing of the polarity and the colors. And down here. But that's about it, folks. I mean, there's no significant threat of flare from any of these. Just looking at these magnetic structures on this filter. No major solar storms expected. Maybe a little unsettled here tonight, looks like, with KP index around 4 to 5, but that's if it makes it up that high. And I think that's about it. Just keep an eye on the earthquake activity for now. Just kind of wondering what's going on down here. All right, guys, I am going to jump off here and continue about my day. We'll catch you guys back here a little bit later tonight. And, of course, we'll do further updates on this potent setup here with the atmospheric river coming into the California area over the next week or so. Basically, about the next 10 days, going to be pretty wet out here. All right, folks, have a good one. Stay safe out there and be observant and be prepared. Catch you guys a little bit later on. Have a good one.